strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer, conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer, conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of days. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chain. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turned Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people, you go meet it up. Pass me the Congo drum and let me beat it up. God on my side, me no give it up. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer, conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer, conquer them.
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 92.9 Cicero Radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the live video, wherever you may be, whether it's on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever it may be. Good morning to you. I'm going to get right into it this morning, because I have a very important topic that I want us to touch, and we'll be touching it today, and we'll be touching it tomorrow, and it has to do with the pending a merger, or the information circulating about a pending merger between Grenada Cocoa Association and the Grenada Nutmeg Association. Now, I want to, and I've always said this here on my program, that I think information is important, and of course information from both sides, or information from credible sources, information that you can use to make precise decisions, informed decisions on these kinds of topics. So what I plan to do this morning, and that's why I'm getting right into it, is I'm going to put in a call to the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture. And I'm going to give you guys a moment to share the live. I'm going to give you guys a moment to I'll give you guys a moment to get the live up and going, contact your friends, contact your neighbors, because I've seen a lot of the stories circulating. All right. And I want more information. I don't want to listen to one side of the story. I don't want to make my decisions based on an emotional response. I want to make my decision, and I want to get all of the facts. And I want you to have all of the facts on this particular issue. All right? So I want to put a call into the permanent secretary, and he is in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Elvis Moraine, and I'm calling him right now while we are on the line, and I'm hoping that we are able to get him. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get him to make a comment or a statement, or even provide us with some information as
Hello, good morning.
as it relates. Good morning, Mr. Moraine. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, you are already live on air. And the reason I'm calling this morning, my name is Miss Duncan, and I'm calling from the Hard Talk Grenada program. And our program is based on providing information to the general public on issues that affect us as Grenadians, to provide both sides of the story, to provide information so people can make informed decisions on particular topics. And the topic that I want us to, or you to quickly make a comment on, or if you can provide me with more information on, is that pending issue between the GCNA and the GCA, that merger that has been circulating in the media. I see that the National Democratic Congress has made a statement. I see that the GCNA has made a statement, and even the senator in the opposition has made a statement. So I'm asking this morning if it is possible, if you have the time, and I promise not to keep you very long, if you have the time to just give us a brief statement on the issue and the facts as it relates to that issue.
Well, Ms. Duncan, thanks for having me, basically. I do not have a lot of time, but it's my privilege to share, something from the ministry end as it relates to where we are, the whole discussion of the merger and so on. I know persons have been endeavoring to get some sort of statement from the ministry. We weren't able to do that. So at least you got me in the right time, because I have a regional meeting I need to attend to in a couple of minutes. So basically, let me say this quickly. Yes, the issue of the merger is in the air. It's not a new topic. It's not a new topic at all. As a matter of fact, when I came into this ministry, and that is just approximately around 2 years ago, the discussion of merger was very much part of the discussion of the ministry. And if I recall well, my attendance to the AGM of both the Grenada Cocoa Association and the GCNA, I have heard the merger issue came up. Right? Sometimes it is raised from the floor by the ordinary farmers, or even among the board. You hear the issue of the merger come up. The issue here is that also from the ministry end, I know there have been reports which to some aspect point to the merger of the both entities. As a matter of fact, I think there was once when there were also the discussion of having that merger, a three-way merger, including minor spices. It was GCA, GCNA, and minor spices. So there's a report I know somewhere around, a final report somewhere around August 2008. All right, that is the first report I saw, and I think that report was commissioned by the European Union. And of course, there was another final report, Complete Caribbean, in 2015. So the merger issue, and when my just sort of scanned review of both documents, I know that there's a framework there for merger and all of that of the entities. But let me also say, in terms of my active involvement, I remember coming out of a meeting of I think it was the Cocoa Association. The issue, that meeting was in Grenville, I think in August of 2018. Much discussion, garnered from that engagement. And I remember when we had the GCN meeting, the biannual meeting in December, there was also discussion. So in 2019, the minister actually initiated a meeting of both boards to look at the issue of merger. And unfortunately, the minister had a family emergency and couldn't make the meeting last time. But we proceeded at the both boards and we engaged. The topic at the time was the merger of the entities. And the issue that it actually generated a lot of discussion among, between the both boards. and the members. But the take home from that meeting was, one, the board felt at the time that they didn't get a strong policy statement to read the merger coming from the ministry. That was one. The other one was they were saying that while they're not against the merger, any such activity must come from or take a bottom-up approach. Mm-hmm. Coming out of this, we decided, you know what? So how will this bottom approach take place? And we charged then, the meeting charged both associations with the responsibility to start the engagement with the farmers. And so we had 3 persons from each association. And then from that, nothing happened. And we heard that the association was saying then that they were of the opinion that the ministry should show leadership in this regard. Mm-hmm. Subsequently, we then put another committee which comprised of persons from the Ministry of Agriculture, GCNA, and GCA. Mm-hmm. That too didn't, it was short-lived, not much happened. And then we had a cabinet conclusion which gave directive for the committee, which we call a merger oversight committee. And that committee comprised of 1 member from the GCNA, 1 member from the GCA. You had 2 members from the Ministry of Agriculture and 1 person from the legal fraternity. And there's a person in the form of a consultant. So this is the oversight committee that is charged with advancing the merger and so on. Mm-hmm. Of course, the legal department, is working in close collaboration with that committee. So when the draft bill that made its way to the media was out, even at the ministry we were sort of surprised because we didn't have, oversight of it. It was meant for the committee to look at. There were some questions I learned after that were asked of the committee. And unfortunately, the bill, formed itself in the media. So that's where we are.
Okay, so
in essence, mm-hmm. This is where we are now.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I understand, and of course that the
I'm hearing you sort of low.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you hearing me better now?
You're better now, yes.
Okay. So I just want to make sure that I understand and that our listenership understands as well. So there was a committee so it was on the table that the merger should take place. It was in discussion and a committee was formed. Now, the bill that made its way to the media is not something that was finalized. It's not something that was forced upon anyone. It was actually something that was placed in the hands of the committee for review. In other words, and then it made its way to the media. So no definite decision has been made on the GCNA issue. It was just up for consultation, for discussion.
Well, Ms. Duncan, I don't know if you have seen it. It's actually, it is the watermark is there mm-hmm. as draft.
Right.
So it's a draft document. Mm-hmm. So as far as I know, from my end, there has not been any discussion apart from the committee. Mm-hmm. At the committee level, read the merger. So that is, apart from the piecemeal discussions we had before that committee was formed, at all of the engagements, it find its way sometime as part of the discussion.
Right.
But in terms of a structured discussion and so on, no. I must say, however, that both documents, though, that is the Complete Caribbean document as well as the other document that was of the 28, I think. They had, it was much more than merger though, but you had wide representation, from across Grenada, including farmers and members of the board and so on. So those documents. So I'm saying that, yes, there was always discussion at some point.
Right.
Now I think it's more focused, as you need to really come forward, and finalize it. But it has not been into a stage where you can call it a final document.
Right. And just to clarify, you said this suggestion, this proposal for the merger happened sometime in 2007, 2008, correct?
there was discussion since then. And who knows, it might be before that time, but that's based on documents I saw. It started there. As a matter of fact, that document, as I recall, the final report, had very specific in terms of, even a name and so on for how the entity would be called. It was very detailed.
Okay. So the committee, and just to reiterate, the committee that was formed comprises of representatives from which sectors?
You have 2 persons representing the Ministry of Agriculture. It's actually a 5-member committee.
Right.
And you have a consultant also. But the 5-member committee, 2 members from the Ministry of Agriculture. You also have somebody from the legal fraternity, 1 member from the Cocoa Association, and 1 from the Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association.
Okay, so that was a committee that was put together to look at that draft to see.
It actually was a cabinet-appointed committee.
Okay. All right, and their job or their duty was to look at that bill, look at that draft, and pinpoint areas of concern, because of course you have representation for the farmers, nutmeg farmers, representation for the cocoa farmers, and you also have representation from the Ministry of Agriculture. So it was basically a balanced committee looking at this document to fine-tune and see how it meets the needs that it's expected to fulfill.
That's exactly what it was.
Okay, and can you comment briefly? So the consultation, because from what I understand, there has been a lot of consultation with the Nutmeg Association and with the Cocoa Association. They've been consulting with their farmers, and the message that is going out there is that the government of Grenada, more so the Ministry of Agriculture, is forcing a merger between the two. Now, you mentioned earlier while speaking that it was agreed that GCNA and GCA must consult with their farmers, because of course the decision will affect them all. So they must consult with their farmers first, and then from there you can move into the discussion stage.
That is exactly what happened in the meeting of 2019, early 2019, right? And I recall they also talk about even farmers. Farmers would tell you, I have had a number of farmers, even some of the meetings that we've had, and they would say to you that while they're not really against merger, they were concerned basically about the asset of the association, how we treat the asset of the association.
Right.
And I remember hearing that. As a matter of fact, there is an expressed interest, right, among farmers, and I can't say all farmers,
right,
that they should have shares in the organization. Whatever organization going forward, the farmers must be given shares.
Right.
Right. So those were the things there that to me that people were talking for, and I can only say what I heard. There might be other discussions, but for I understand the discussion I was part of, those were the concerns that were raised.
All right. Now, Mr. Moraine, I know that you have to leave, but what I want to do is I want to, if possible, schedule with yourself, or you can send a representative so we can have further in-depth conversation as it relates to this issue, because it seems to be more deep-seated than just the merger, and I want us, the public, to understand exactly what is happening. Because for me, when I read the releases and so on from the media, I was of the impression that it was just thrown upon the farmers, that the GCA and the GCNA, that there must be this merger, and it was something that was set in stone, not understanding that that it was in the discussion phase, and that what should be happening now is that there must be honest and open consultation between the GCNA and GCA with the farmers to get their honest viewpoint and to be able to have an input in the draft so that everyone can benefit from whatever decision is made at the end of the day.
Ms. Duncan, that is so. Let me just say something though. I want because the farmers, they're aware. What we need to delve into, and I think the big issue, yes, we need to make sure that the bill represents what it's supposed to represent. But at the same time, I think what is missing is that, and the discussion should really be, if all of us, we are honest, is around how would the farmers benefit from a merger? And I think we are glossing around that issue. The question we need to ask everybody is, the farmers really benefiting now under this construct, right? After 7 years of the GC&E, is the farmers really benefiting? These are the hard questions that we need to ask.
Right.
Because we talk farmers and we say yes, the farmers, but we need to come to say, okay, how we want, because these we're talking about people's livelihood here, right? Now, if the farmers seemingly not benefiting the way they ought to benefit now, should we just continue to operate in a manner where, at some time farmers would lose interest and they say, look, I'm not going to do that anymore. Right. We value this industry and we want to make sure that we see it continue to thrive, but we cannot continue to run an industry and an old model that seems to not bring any benefits to the group of persons that matter most to me. Right. That is the most critical thing. But let me also say this to you. And lest we forget, the associations, the board associations, actually delve into some form of merger before. Because when I came into this ministry, the association, they were managed by one manager. Right? So and they spoke about the benefit, right, that accrued out of this arrangement. Right. So you had both entities, you had a single manager managing both entities. So and these are some of the things that we have to look at. In other words, we know the challenges that both cocoa and face in terms of the international market and market for the produce. Okay? Right. No, you have to find a way in terms of how you can cut costs overhead so that you can continue to give the benefit to farmers. I wouldn't be able to give it a specific. The question we need to ask ourselves, right? The cost for metric tons of nutmeg from, I think it was around 2013 to today, you are getting almost 75% reduction. So in other words, what you're getting now for nutmegs on the international market represents a reduction of about 75% in the cost that you paid just 7 years ago. Explain to me how you're going to run something at the same construct where you're not having that set of revenue coming in as before. The revenue pool has not increased but decreased. And then you continue to run the same operationalization of something. And we are saying to ourselves that the farmer's interest is at heart. Explain to me how we're going to maintain this. And I want to just make this point. Ms. Duncan, and we're not getting to the real issue. Now, for instance, as we speak, and it's no fault of the Cocoa or the Nutmeg Association, but as we speak, they cannot, the market, the international market is not open. It's not open, right? So you can't sell. If this market remains closed for the next 6 weeks, we have to ask ourselves seriously, how are we going forward, right? One of the things I have a fundamental difficulty with is this. We are talking about, in this era, we are branding ourselves as the best quality nutmeg in the world, right? And we are still marketing our nutmeg through a middleman in this present construct. Right. So explain to me that if there ought to be losses, do you think the middleman would absorb any of the losses? Right. If we have a premium product, why is it we continue to market that premium product in a manner as though it is a second or third grade product, that you need somebody to help you to get your product on the market? But we're talking a premium product. So there are a lot of things I believe we need to discuss honestly about this industry, right? And not gloss over the thing and talk about, a merger. We need to see, to me, the merger can bring benefits. What we need to look at is how we refine those benefits so that farmers can benefit. And if we deny farmers an honest discussion in this, and we just give them a position that we want to influence them, is not fair to the farmers. I believe that we have farmers who are knowledgeable enough who can add to the process, and that is what we as the ministry prepare to do, to engage farmers so that farmers can share in terms of how they see this, right? Because we have to put the reality on the ground as to can we survive in this current dispensation in terms of the operational mechanism that we have governing both the GCNA and the GCA.
All right.
And that's the honest question we need to ask, and we need to look at it going forward.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Maureen, and I will be engaging you further to get a more in-depth conversation, whether it's from you or from a member within your ministry, so we can sit and talk about and look at this thing objectively and look at the benefits, of course, and also whatever shortcomings may derive from it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You have a wonderful day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Guys, don't worry. We were not stopping there. I have a farmer that I'm going to call at this point because, you see, I need to get the full story. I see a lot of information going around, and I keep hearing the word struggle. And I keep talking to us as a people and saying to us, why does everything have to be a fight and a struggle? Why can't we not sit, look at things objectively, speak about things objectively, bring both sides of the story to the table? Why does everything have to have a negative connotation? I'm trying to understand that. I'm trying to make us see that life can be a lot easier if we all enter situations with an open mind, if we all look at things objectively, if we take away the political undertone of every situation that happens in our country and look at it at the benefits that it will have for our people, what achievements we can make, what strides we can make as a people. So I have a farmer that I engaged this morning, and I've been hearing a lot of negativity. I've been hearing a lot of information, and y'all know me. I am no longer about the negative. There are too many people who are doing a wonderful job at that. So I'm going to call this farmer. I'm going to put him on the line as we speak, and I want us to speak to him on his viewpoint on the issue. Hello?
Hello, morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm all right.
All right. Hi, this is Miss Duncan, and you are already live. I called you in live on the program.
Okay.
And as we spoke about this morning, see, I like to get the viewpoint of the farmers as it relates to this current issue. And you are a nutmeg farmer. Can you give us a little background on how long you've been a farmer?
Okay. Well, first, my name is Teddy Popcat Christopher from St. Patrick's.
Mm-hmm.
My farm is located in the Peggy Swim area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and basically I grew up in the nutmeg, you know. My grandfather used to take care of the land. He bought the lands long ago, and then my dad, and now it's my turn, you know. So you could say that I'm bred in nutmeg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's been quite a while, but my dad died about 4 years ago, and I got into it seriously from that time, though I used to just be helping him, but I'm doing it on my own now. It's quite different, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been a farmer. It's in your blood. It's in your history. It's in your ancestry to be a farmer, and you chose to go into nutmeg farming. Correct?
Yes. Well, I would say okay, because I'm an auto body technician.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've done quite a lot of different things, but I know at some point in time, I definitely would have to get back into the land. You know?
Right.
So I wouldn't say, I would say definitely I just had to do it. I just had to do it because everything that I, you know, did in life, it came from agriculture. You know?
Right.
So I don't want to give up on that.
Right, I understand that. Now, tell us a little bit about nutmeg farming. You've been doing it over the years. What has it been like for you, and especially compared to now with the COVID-19 situation? What changes and challenges have you come in contact with?
Okay. First, things are run differently. You know, back then, I don't think people, when you go to a nutmeg meeting, you know, my dad used to come home and he used to be arguing every time and saying, you know, like they're not just doing things the right way. And sometimes I used to try to understand, but at the time I couldn't really understand. He wouldn't tell me everything, you know, but now I'm the one that's doing it. I sort of picked up a lot of the things that he used to be talking about. And these are things that I don't want our farmers right now, especially the younger ones, because trust me, they would be sidetracked very easily. You have to really love this thing to stay in it, you know, and for you to be, for you to keep in it, you have to love it. There's a lot of changes in terms of the way things are done. And still, during the COVID time, you know, as we have to be fighting to get to try to go pick up the nutmegs, and now that we've been selling it off and on every fortnightly, that is something that's very hard for us, because the minute time you leave the nutmeg there, it start getting light. So it's like we're selling dry nutmeg for green price, you know. By the time you leave it there 1 week, the same nutmeg that will be weighing 100 pounds, you would be weighing like 60 pounds.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of challenges in terms of getting the help from the association. They try a lot, but there's still a lot to be done.
Okay.
I think the emphasis back then, it should have been placed more on the production of nutmeg and the manufacturing of the raw materials, so that we should have been exporting finished product instead of now that we're fighting to be selling the raw nutmegs. We should have been over that period quite a long time ago.
All right. Now, on the issue of the merger, now there has been a lot of talk, a lot of conversation. There has been a lot of consultation, from what I understand, over the past few days with the farmers. I'm not sure if you have been privy to any of those meetings.
Yes, I've been there.
Right. Now, what we understand, or what has been circulating in the general public, is that this is an issue that is being told to the farmers by the GCNA and the GCA, that it is being forced upon them to merge. And what are your views on the merger itself?
The liberalization of the market, which in modern times could be good, as well as it can be bad, it depends on how it's properly managed.
Right.
Just as keeping the board, and you would go to the nutmeg industry meetings, and some of the farmers would keep arguing about certain things. You know, why you're not getting back pay, why we're getting that price, you know, for our products. On the merger, if the government would come up with the right plan and tell the farmers, okay, after this merger takes place, A and B would happen, that's what would happen in the future. You know, once we get to know, we have concrete information that they can manage these things, because I think with the board coming and just tell us, oh, that they're just hijacking, I think it's a way of making us get scared.
Right.
Yes, because I got the information that this draft been with the association since 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just coming and tell us straight off now, you know. So it makes some of the farmers scared. It's no, like why the government just want to do that? And you hear a lot of different, you know, information on why they want to do things like that. But if the nutmeg industry keep going to the government every time for a bailout, that means something is not right.
Right.
Because you telling us don't let the government take it over. because they would mess it up. But then it seems like you cannot gain a profit from it yourself.
Right.
So who would be the wrong one anyway? Who is doing the wrong thing?
Right. Now, I want to ask you, because I just got off the phone with the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Elvis Moraine, and he made mention of something that I found very interesting. Now, you're saying that they are saying to you, do not let the government take it over. But are you guys aware, are the farmers aware that a committee has been put in place of 5 individuals, a representative from the GCNA, a representative from GCA, 2 representatives from the Ministry of Agriculture, and a legal team, and also a consultant as well. Do you know that there has been a team formed to look at the draft? So that it's a draft. Of course, we know a draft is not final. So do you know, or have they been communicating to you that there is a committee put in place that they are a part of to look at the draft and make recommendations on behalf of the farmers for what is best for them in this situation?
Well, during the last meeting, we were just shown where they read out the proposal by the government, but we didn't really get that direct information on, like, when they would be sitting. They only told us that they had a meeting with the government, and look what they proposed to them. But they told us that they had to come to the farmers and throw it out to us, and then I guess they would have to go back and do the negotiations.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're telling you not to agree.
Yes, basically they need us to give them the support, because to me they have us like the bullies. They would negotiate with the government, so the farmers are the majority. So as long as they make the noise, things like that wouldn't be able to pass. And they keep telling us, don't let our assets go to the government just like that. But what I'm saying, they cannot tell me who really owns the GCNA and the GCA.
Right.
That's the question. Who really owns it?
Right.
The farmers don't have no shares. And
So
these are things that, look at how long it's, 1940-something, this thing's been formed. And up to now, the farmers can say, we've been paying for a building in town.
Right.
And that debarred the farmers from even getting a back pay.
Right.
Because our monies, when the nutmeg price is not too right, our monies go towards paying for that building, but we don't have any shares in it. So what's the whole use? You keep telling us that save our assets, but we don't have nothing in black and white to show that it belongs to us.
Understood. So you are part of an association. You don't own any shares. You are paying for, as you say, for the building or contributing towards the association. But at the end of the day, you are not benefiting. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. I can't see how we're benefiting because we don't have anything to get. We don't have nothing concrete to show that we really paid X amount of money. Yes, we don't have anything to show that.
Now, I read a news article over the weekend that indicated that on a monthly basis, and I don't want to misquote, so I'm trying to pull up the article as we're speaking. I read an article that indicated that the GCNA building accumulates an amount of $170,000 per month. And if I'm wrong, I wish someone would clarify for me. $170,000 per month in rental fees from the from the rental of this building.
Right.
Now, out of that money, what benefit is the farmer getting?
I don't think we're getting anything. This money just go towards paying the loan for it. And whenever they, a few years ago, the building, it wasn't filled to capacity.
Right.
And that's where the farmers came in. Our sales went to pay to fill that space.
Right.
Now, the building is filled to capacity. It can sustain itself.
Right.
But then we're still not getting anything when the year up. We're not getting our surplus. This association, they have a lot of assets. But then everything they keep saying is like 1 million, 1.5 million. Such of a large entity, and these are small monies when comparing to the amount of things that they own.
Right. Now, I have a big question for you. Now, when you're having your meetings and your consultations and so on, you're in an association, which means that the association is expected to answer for you or answer the questions that you have. Now, has anyone questioned the association? Now, if I'm in an association, I want to know, well, I'm making X and Y contributions and you are receiving X and Y grants and bailouts on my behalf. What am I, at the end of the day, expected to benefit as a nutmeg or a cocoa farmer? Are these questions being asked?
I think that is one of the shortfalls of the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to the meetings, they tend to be more argument than dealing with issues.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's a good way for the board to just do what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as we're not dealing with the issues, that would be in their favor. Because they will just sit there and just look at you just arguing amongst yourselves on petty issues. You know, simple things. You can be going into meetings now and they want to tell you, guys arguing and telling you how to dig drains and how to plant 2 nutmeg trees together. We passed that stage. Nutmeg been in Grenada since slavery time. You know? We passed that stage. So we have to deal with pertinent issues that would propel the future of the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
But you hardly find that in the meetings. And even though you come up with certain things, you would find there are people in the crowd that would still go against you. They don't want you to ask these questions.
Okay.
So we're not united. There is a board. They would appoint, the farmers would appoint people that would go to represent them on the board.
Right.
But then during the period, the nutmeg period, you wouldn't find that the same people that have been elected on the board would come back and engage the farmers and discuss issues to take back to the board meetings. You don't find that you only get to meet them once a year.
Mm.
So they only go on their own accord. Is what they think is right for the farmers.
Right.
That's what they bring to the board, because they don't come back and say, okay, we had a meeting today and look, we discussed X and Y. Farmers, what do you think we should do towards that? You don't find that.
Right. So as a nutmeg farmer, what would you like to see the farmers benefit from the association? What are some of the things that you think is important to the farmers or important to the sustainability of the nutmeg industry that the GCNA and the GCA should provide?
First, we should be able to have shares in the company. We should be able to secure better prices. We know that it's hard out there, but there are always ways that we can push to make things happen. We have to change the way of doing things. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why I mentioned that in terms of manufacturing, we have to be able to manufacture. If we're not getting the direct price in terms of the raw nutmeg, let's do the oil. Right. Don't invest in an old machine to bring us into the future. Give us a machine that would last 20 years, and then we maybe just have to change a bearing.
Right.
You know? So we want to see better prices for the nutmeg, and we need to have shares in the assets of the company.
Okay, now I want to ask a very important question because over the past year or so, there has been a lot of talk about the formation of cooperatives and the importance of doing that. Now, you did speak about the production of nutmeg and not just selling the raw material because, of course, over the years, before Ivan, we know that the price of nutmeg or the nutmeg industry as it relates to Grenada was in Grenadian terms booming. You know, we had the second best nutmeg in the world, you know,
right.
And we were doing well. And then Ivan came and it changed that for us. Now, the formation of cooperatives, let's say 5 farmers come together and they decide that we're going to form a cooperative to produce nutmeg oil or to produce nutmeg spray or to revolutionize the nutmeg industry. And that is set aside from the GCNA. Have conversations along that line taken place between farmers, even under the advice of the association?
I I never heard they really brought it up in the meetings, but I had thrown it out to the general manager because I had contact with a lady in Jamaica in terms of doing something like that. And she was quite intrigued with when I told her that we have a lot of nutmegs. Yeah, a lot of people outside, they don't realize the amount of, like a private farmer would have quite a lot of nutmegs.
Right.
But yeah, they look at it maybe, like some big corporations, would just do that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things. Everything in the nutmeg can be sold.
Right.
Remember back in the revolution time, the nutmeg pod, I as a kid used to be picking up this and sell it to get money for school.
Right.
It was used to make jams. You have the shell from the nutmeg. You can put it in your barbecue grill, and it gives the meat a lot of flavor. And
right.
Still, when you grind the nutmeg, the mace, everything is for sale. Even when they had the plant that sorters running, the residue that they used to be throwing from the truck.
Right.
I get to understand that this material could have even been used.
Right.
So we're not harnessing what we're supposed to do. We're not harnessing.
Okay.
So we keep losing all around.
I understand.
In terms of cooperatives, yes, it can work, but the people involved, they have to fully understand how cooperatives operate. And it's not just something about self, it's a lot of teamwork. And nowadays, people, they tend to lose that teamwork.
I understand.
Yes.
I understand. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it was on short notice, but I appreciate getting your point of view and, of course, receiving your honest, open statement as it relates to this entire debacle, because I myself, I'm not too educated on that particular topic, and I want to get as much information as possible, to be able to make a decision on what I want to believe, and it's the same as the general public. I want them to have all of the information as it relates to what is happening, because from the articles that I've been reading over the past few days and the statements by different institutions and civil society, I have heard only along the lines of this is a struggle and this is a fight. And I keep saying daily that everything does not have to be a struggle, and it does not have to be a fight. We can sit and we can agree on what needs to be done for the betterment of the industry. And if a merger is that, then why can't we find ways in which we can do it where everyone benefits,
Yes.
But I do appreciate, and for your sake as a farmer and the sake of all of the other farmers out there, I really hope that this gets settled, and that you guys are given the correct information so you guys can make the correct assessments of the situation and make a decision based on that, and not just someone telling you what you should do in this issue. So I'm really hoping that with the remainder of the consultations, that the GCNA would provide the right information. But even still, as farmers, Terry, I really hope that you guys can come together on a collaborated front for the betterment of the sector, because as you said, it's your livelihood, and it's something that you've been involved in for years. It is something that you want to see grow and develop and revolutionize with the changing times,
Definitely.
So
Yes.
you guys need to start asking the right questions, asking the whys and the why nots, so that you guys can find out what is really happening. If it's an investment in the Nutmeg Association, if you guys have to get shares and so on, these are things that you guys need to start discussing at the meetings. What do we need to do? What can we benefit? What is best for us in this situation, and not just someone telling you what you should and should not do. All right?
Definitely.
Great. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me this morning. You have a wonderful day.
Okay, you as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. You see, when I sit here and I say that Grenadians need to mind their business, this is what I'm speaking about. minding your business, knowing what is available to you, knowing what is going on in your life. So somebody can't come with a half-cooked story or a half-baked story and give it to you and you're going to believe it. We need to start asking pertinent questions. And you see, that is why I keep saying critical thinking. It is time for us to stop taking things that people tell us as gospel. And this is for all sides. If government comes out and says to you, okay, this is what is going to happen, it is your right to ask pertinent questions, to give you answers that will help you to make an informed decision. See, we just take things, and that's the reason why I say we play too much politics here in Grenada, that we fail to see the benefit of a lot of things. Now, as the farmer said, you have an association where the farmers do not own shares. It's called the Grenada Nutmeg Association, but the farmers, nutmeg farmers, do not own shares. So the proceeds and the profits go back to paying the loan on the building. That's what he said. All right, that is fine for us to understand. So when the loan is done, when it's paid off, what happens then? You see, I really cannot understand why we are not taking more interest in minding our business. So you go to a consultation and someone says to you, okay, well, this is what the government is proposing and we are going to fight against it. Well, what are you fighting against? And that's the first question that you need to ask. I'm not saying that you should just say, okay, well, I agree with what the government says, or I agree with what the Nutmeg and Cocoa Association says, so I'm just going to say yes or no to it. But have you asked the pertinent questions? Have you asked, how is this going to benefit me? What are the upsides? What are the downsides? Have you asked these questions? Have you asked questions such as, in the profits that the association makes, how am I as a farmer expected to benefit from that? These are the questions that we must start asking. I really cannot, and I sat here yesterday and I spoke to us as a people to be more mindful of what we do. See, we jump up in a lot of politics and we jump up in a lot of tebe and we jump up in a lot of confusion. We revel in the negativity of situations that we cannot even see when we are being shortchanged. You understand? So at the end of the day, these are the facts. The merger between GCNA and GCA is not something that is a definite go. It is in the consultation phase. And as the permanent secretary said, what the GCNA and GCA are supposed to be doing at this point is consulting with the farmers, speaking to them on their level, discussing their needs, putting all cards on the table. So at the end of the day, a decision can be made with the interest of the cocoa and nutmeg farmers at heart. So whether at the end of the day, when the committee meets and the committee says, well, these are the challenges that the farmers experience, these are the shortcomings that will be derived from the merger, that we can sit and put all our cards on the table and we just don't go to the negotiating table or we go to the committee meetings and say, no, well, we don't agree with that. And you're asking, well, why don't you agree? Because the assets of the farmers are being affected. And then the farmers are now turning and saying, well, what are our assets? We don't have anything concrete. We don't have anything written or set in stone. These are the things that we need to start considering. We need to start minding our business. And I've said it here and I will continue to say it. Sometimes we don't even know what we are fighting against, but we fight in. Our fists are up and our mouths are open and we are ready. But we do not even understand what we are fighting against. How many of you even understand what this merger is going to do for the farmers? How many of you even know what the shortcomings of this merger will be? But we fight in because the rights of the farmers are being infringed. And their assets are being taken away from them. And the farmers are saying that they have no assets. These are the things that we need to start looking at. Asking the pertinent questions and minding your business. I have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Hello.
Hi, good morning, Miss Cammy.
Good morning. It's morning time.
Yes, how are
Miss
you?
Duncan, morning, Miss Pammy. I want to say good morning to everybody who's listening to me. Sheldon, Devon, Mr. Deputy in America, Mr. Watt, his wife, Bingo, my friend in Canada, Patty and Matthew, everybody that has been listening, good morning. Everything is all right with us here. Miss Duncan, I'm listening to you, and then there's so much rumors going around. I don't know. And I don't want to listen to rumors, but I want you all to find out. This morning on one radio program, they're saying that they sell the waterfall and the market for sale.
Oh,
So I don't know where this thing come from. I would have really like the Prime Minister, the ministers, the people that know what's going on in Grenada here, that whole government office could let us know as a people what is going on. So much a thing. Look how panic day before. They say we have to go home, and they're shutting down Grenada
Lord.
because of the curfew. I didn't understand it. And so much a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's so sad. And these people that is doing that, they say they love Grenada. They love Grenada. I don't understand. I reach a stage in my life now, Ms. Duncan, that I come out to trust people. I mean, people that you're looking up to. People that you're looking up to. And they're not speaking the truth.
Yeah.
So I just confused. You understand?
Yeah.
It is so sad. You know? And the next thing I want you to find out for me, please, that when the Prime Minister is going to visit in his office in Mushigu, I know because of the COVID, most of the ministers is not in office. I saw him this morning, you know, and I'm telling him I want to see him, but he was driving up.
Well, I
was down here already.
I could answer
So I
that
want
for
to
you.
find out if the office open and things, because I really have to see him. Because when you go to ask for a little help, the people are there, they're sending you in America, they're sending you in England, they're sending you in Canada.
Okay.
But they're doing for their friends. You know, I don't well, and I need a little help.
Right.
So I just want to know if you're there in office.
Okay.
You know?
Well,
so find out for me, please.
Right, Ms.
And I want
Cammy.
to say good day to everybody in Grenada, Carriacou, Martinique, all home and abroad.
Right.
But right now, the tongue kind of busy today, sun shining in Grenada, and we planting. Mr. Watts and Patty are planting like a corn right now. All you have a blessed day. I sit down here, but nothing right now on the terminal because things kind of slow. Okay?
All right.
All right. Have a good evening, Miss Duncan.
You too, Miss
Do you
Cammy.
hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Find out when you're going to be in office. Because
Right.
I really need a little help.
Yeah, Miss Cammy.
Thank you.
Miss
Good
Cammy.
evening.
Oh, she's gone. All right. Miss Cammy, if you're listening to me, he started seeing people in his office about 2 weeks ago. What is happening is it's going to be virtual sessions. Most of the ministers are doing it, where you can go into the office and they would set up a screen for you and you would speak to the representatives over that screen. So he has been in office. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning. Yes, I just want to put in my piece concerning the GCNE, right? I have worked with Mr. Webb, Joel Webb, when Mr. Webb established a state-of-the-art company to produce pure nutmeg oil. No other company in the Caribbean did that type of work. I remember that Mr. Webb had to fight just to get a constant supply of nutmeg. He went in the court and he won, I think, twice. All right. He then sell the company over to Mr. Leonard St. Bernard, changing him to West Indian Spices.
Right.
I tell you, I see that man cry tears because the amount of business that came from overseas. I tell you, investors come to spend millions of US dollars. And the thing is, these people them have chain stores all over the world, and all they want to know is that the company could get a reliable supply of nutmeg because they said that they have customers all over the world, and they want to know that the GCNA will sign a contract and ensure that West Indian Spices will get a reliable supply of nutmeg at a reasonable price, and they wouldn't do it. Understand me? They wouldn't do it, and I can tell you, this company could easily employ over 100 persons, and plus other persons could benefit, and they insist they wouldn't do it. I remember one time that they told Mr. St. Bernard that the only way they might think about it if you give them 50% shares in the company move on to Mr. Antoine Patrick. Same problem. He come to run. Same problem. Understand? This company, I tell you, when this company was built, it was a state-of-the-art company because this is a steaming process. And so it's pure nutmeg oil, no chemical, no preservative in it. Pure, 100% pure nutmeg oil. And I tell you, this company would have put Grenada far more further on the map, and also it would have been employing people, but no, the GCNA only care about themselves, and they will never come on terms to supply nutmeg to all these persons who the company and it has passed through.
So I just want to clarify for those who are listening, and for my understanding as well, you're saying that you work with a company that makes nutmeg oil.
Yeah.
And that you would have engaged investors who are willing to purchase the oil, but they just want to make sure that they have a constant supply of nutmeg coming in.
That's all they want. Yes, that's all. Listen, the other company, it was so big. It hired a cruise ship. It brings down 3,000 persons here in Grenada. The company bring down the clients and customers or whatever here in Grenada. They brought all of them by the nutmeg factory. When it came, all the owners tell Mr. St. Bernard, all we want is you to get a contract stating that you will get it because the company said they have thousands of chain stores across Canada, England, and the United States. And when Mr. Senby tried to deal with them, they insist they're not signing anything. All they do, Mr. Senby, is selling 4 bags of nutmeg, about 10 bags of nutmeg, 12 bags of nutmeg. That's all they do, just no one then. So the guy gets fed up and he had to sell out.
So this could have revolutionized the nutmeg sector in Grenada.
Of course, I tell you. This factory making nutmeg oil, it's making clove oil, it's making lemongrass oil. Let me tell you, this factory is the only factory here in this part of the Caribbean that could process pure lemongrass oil, clove oil. I tell you, top of the line. They could do it, but the main product was the nutmeg oil.
Right.
And the main product, and I tell you, the company, the GCN stifle the owners and them. Stifle them.
Well, this is very disappointing news. This is
so
rather
disappointing. Call you and make you and the same problem they're giving still they don't stop because Mr. Ron and Fran own it and the same problem too.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, because we would not have known this information had you not called us here this morning.
And listen, this is first and information because I work with Mr. Webb, I work with Mr. St. Bernard, I work with Patrick Antoine, and I work with Ron Antoine. I pass through all their hands, and I know, and I was one of the original workers from day one, and I'm still around them to this present day. So what I'm telling you is factual things, friend. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You're welcome. You as well. I tell all you, it is time to start minding your business. What this gentleman just said could have been a venture that revolutionized the nutmeg sector. The information he just gave us could have changed the lives of so many nutmeg farmers, and an extension, so many other people in Grenada who could have been a part of this venture. We have another caller on the line. Good morning, caller.
Yeah. Good morning, Uncle.
Good morning.
Yeah, I see you laughing in my I say you have your real belly to call on the farmer to explain things for me. You have a group of people in Grenada, a group of bushmen who call themselves farmers. They only just pick up a cutlass and a bag and they go in the bush and plant vine and grass. That is it. You think any farmers, them just they will give the most trouble, you know. Look at when we come and for the association to cooperate with REB and let the farmers benefit. Instead, they bring Rami Russia and go and get farm protests in Grammy to get rid of web. When they get rid of web, they drop the price. These are a group of smart men around this industry. And if you check it, they never have no savings for nobody. Say, well, the family will benefit from the spoil. The spoil always go to them. Nutmeg and cocoa, that is a seasonal thing. In 6 months you get, and next 6 months you don't have nothing. When you have nothing, you have to spend, keep spending back money in the bush. Why is you paying their salary for the 6 months you don't have nothing? People are looking at it on a broad scale. Some people try to make politics out of that, but you're not politics. And I don't know talking just so I'm a big time farmer too. I have over 45 acres of land. So I don't know the little man just planting fully cutting on the ground. And I could say, well, this change is taking too long to come. It's time to revive this board and take all the smart man and his board around his board. These men just to enjoy the spoil. Because it should need interest. Every time look at the back farm opening during the Corona time. They say open up. 2 weeks now we send letter for the ministry to give us a chance to buy it. When they do open up, they don't have money to buy it. Who the embarrassment come for? It's them because you call it begging to open up and you don't have money for price support. You more people will bring up, you don't have money to pay for it. So where all these years is going? You go into that place, the Gambila, when you need no mall in Grenada, they don't build mall. They had about $40 million in reserve during in the 90s going up there. They say they don't just have in bank there, just making it instead of invest all this money. They come when all of mall building Grenada, they come and say they go build mall, want to compete with other people. When them should have set in the stage for that. These people are them tell money flow really into the hand. No, government should be able to borrow money from them instead. Say them have to lend money from government. Them is a group of smart men when they run on that board and right onto the ground. And it's some the bushmen I call them bushmen because I can call them from Africa. 2 farmers with 6 farmers in trees. These bushmen don't listen to what they say and Joe Popo will tell people no one will listen to the news. They don't read the paper. They only know what they hear on the road. But I didn't I could tell you that this group of men is smart men. And who don't sit for it is the business. But I know for them in longest while I always say about that it's time for government to take and direct that board and do something. Because if every time they're in problem, government have to bail you out. So if I bail you out, so I don't have no input.
Right.
As a government, the most I input in that because every time you run out, them not to come to them.
Right.
You got a bonus. You got it when the last Christmas gone when they said they didn't get the bonus. For the last Christmas, you know if you say, oh, if the election close, they give what's up the government. If every time you have to give things so we give things so where's your management?
Yeah.
Who do the accounting, who saving, who balance the book?
Yeah.
You know, but I get emotional about it. Take care.
You too, caller. You know, I when I got up this morning and I got the information, and I've been following it for a few days because I already had a planned interview for tomorrow to speak on it. But when I got up this morning and I heard some of the stories, I said, no, we have to address this thing today. It has to be done today. It has to be done now. The information must go out. And if I had to give advice to the Ministry of Agriculture, I would say that you guys also need to do a consultation with the farmers, because as this last caller said, some of the farmers, they don't read, they don't, all they're studying is to go on what people say, and that's never a good thing, you know. So maybe some consultation on the government, on the Ministry of Agriculture side should take place, so that there is a balanced view as how we look at this thing. We have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan, and to Grenada.
Good morning.
I want to ask a question to be clear. Is it not true that the nutmeg and cocoa farmers are only allowed to sell their produce to the association?
That's correct.
As of up to now?
That's correct.
Now, why, right. So my question is, why can't there be a liberalization of that? Because I'm thinking, no, I'm not a farmer, so I'm not pretending to be a farmer. I'm in construction, and I'm not going to get into farming. That's not my thing. Everybody have their thing. But in my mind, I think if one is allowed to sell their produce on a wider scale, that might, then we don't have to hear about bonus and this and that and the other. I was also shocked to learn this morning that the farmers does not know who really owns the association, and to me that is ridiculous. I think they should know that. And what I would like to suggest to the farmers: never go into any deal without signing a contract. I think that the farmers should have signed a contract with the both Nutmeg and Cocoa Association. Each farmer should have, and I think that the farmers are registered, each farmer should have a copy of the contract with their signature affixed to it. Because in that case, now I'm not saying this is what is happening. In that case, the association can just do what they want. I'm not saying that they're doing what they want, but it's just to bring my point across. Right. Can do what they want, and it's not, you can say, because you have no contract with them, you have you have nothing signed. So then they're free to do whatever they want, when they want, how they want. And being in construction, I know that I don't take a job. If I have to come and put up a door for you, I mean, you got to sign some kind of contract, you know. Right. I mean, here in the U.S. it's different than Grenada, of course, but I think one, have a contract. Don't go talking. You don't. I know they would go to meetings, and I would have seen the meetings on the news, and then it's a set of quarreling back and forth. Right. This thing has to stop. You get a contract, you sign the contract, and then both parties are bound within the parameter of that contract.
Yeah. Yeah. But caller, also, I want us to just talk.
But liberalize. Yes. Just liberalize the market. So GCN, you can sell to them, but also you can also sell to somebody else. Because I'm going to tell you why I'm saying so, and I'm going to be quick. If I decide to open up a factory in Grenada, okay, right, it means for me to, if I have to use a product, nutmeg, I have to buy from GCN. But I don't want to buy from GCN. I want to buy from the farmers. Right. GCN, you can sell, so the farmers should be able to be free. Right now, it's like they have a noose around their neck. It's only GCN they can sell to, or the Nutmeg Association. Right. And in my mind, I think that is the number one problem. So I think that needs to be changed. Right. And that's my contribution for today. All
right. Thank you so much, caller. And a very valuable piece of input there as well. Now, the diversification of the nutmeg sector, because as it stands right now, they have to sell to the association. Now, as somebody rightfully said, if you're running a business and it's not making a profit, why are you continuing with that business? In the same sense, if you are running an association, the association is not making profit, and every time you have to get something done, or you need price support, or you need something like that, then you need to go back to government and ask them for a grant, or ask them for a loan, or ask them for a bailout. Then why is it that government must now have no say in what is being done? You see, we can't be unfair in that way. Because if at the end of the day, when the association goes to government, different association goes to government and say, well, we want a bailout in price support, and government decides, well, we don't have a say in what's going on, we're not going to give it to you, then Grenadians would be saying something completely different. So we have to be honest, and we have to be objective in our thinking. See, we politicize everything, every single thing that happens in Grenada, we politicize it. And sometimes because we are so politically charged, we don't take time to view things objectively, to see if it is actually going to benefit us, or if it's not going to benefit us, what we can do to make it benefit us. And that happens so much, and it's very sad. So here you have a group of farmers who are not taking an interest in what is happening in matters of the associations, and the association members are banking on that fact. So they are coming out and they're telling you, well, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to say, and nobody is saying, well, why, how, if, what, when, where, How can that happen? How is it that you are paying an association for the produce, and at the end of the day, you cannot ask where the finances are going? At the end of the day, when something needs to happen, that you need to go, they need to go to government for assistance. And nobody's asking the question. Everybody is so convinced that it is the fault of government. Everybody is so convinced that they can point a finger in the other direction. Nobody's asking the pertinent questions. So we have to do better than that as a people. Start minding our business. Start asking the right questions to the right people, so that you know what is going on. You don't know who owns the Farmers Association. You don't know who owns the Cocoa Association. But before something goes wrong, you're pointing finger at government. You don't even know who is telling you to point the finger. So we have to be careful. Close your eyes sometimes and ask yourself questions. Say, well, I've been in the association for 60 years. And of the 60 years I've been in the association, apart from selling my produce, what other benefits have I received? Do a calculation. Look, the gentleman is saying that they called, they had a company that was willing to buy the nutmeg. And they're giving them 10 bags and 12 bags and all this nonsense. We have to move away from that. I have a caller on the WhatsApp. Good morning, caller.
Hello, yes. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. This is in Grenada.
Yes, it's Grenada, and you're live on radio. Hard Talk Grenada.
In Grenada. Okay. This is a radio program.
Say that again, please.
Yeah, this is a radio program in Grenada.
You're live on a radio program, yes.
Okay, so how long you will be on the radio program? This is a news program in Grenada.
This program has been around for a couple years as well.
Yeah, but this is a news program, a radio program on news in Grenada.
Well, yes, you can get news here.
Okay. All right, then. Thanks very much. I will call back later.
All right. You can call back at 12 when the program is over.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, guys, we have to do better as a people. I mean, how do you not know? You basically have somebody running you blindly, you know. You have absolutely no idea what is happening. and they come to you and they tell you don't agree, and you just go with what they say. And as the caller rightfully said, this deal that could have happened, this gentleman who wanted to make nutmeg oil, and you have people telling them no. Look, there's someone here said here saying that the GCNA brought Mr. Webb to court because he was buying from the farmers and he won all the cases. He buys nutmeg at a higher price and it affected the company. So we can understand now why they don't want to diversify. You have a gentleman who is willing, and you see, I say this a lot, especially for the agricultural industry on a whole. We want more to be done in the agricultural industry. But remember, we must supply the demand. So if we have people out there who want to plant 50 tomatoes and 20 lettuce at their convenience, and they're not willing to engage in a wider market, then you are investing monies into the same practices and you will never reap the benefits. In the same way, you are running a cocoa and a nutmeg association in the same way for years and it has not been working. You've been going back to government and asking for price support and asking for a bailout and asking for a loan almost every 5 years. And you are not changing the way in which you do business. So obviously the same thing will happen. I mean, come on, we have to do better than that as a people. We're going to have people all over the region laughing at us, when we go all over social media and we're making a set of noise about things that we do not even understand. Because Mary down the road tell you that this is what it is and you believe what Mary say and you run with it. And sometimes it's not even because you don't agree with the issue, You just don't agree because it's the administration that put it into play. I mean, we have to do better than that as a people. Why do we continue to shoot our own selves in the foot? We block in our own blessing, we block in our own development simply because there are a few people in Grenada that are using you to play petty politics. And I do not understand. And it's an issue that a lot of people will get upset over. Because when I sit back and I look at these situations, and I look at you have a group of farmers who don't even know what they are benefiting from an association, but the association comes and they tell you to drink water and you just drink water. And then you have people out there saying, oh, well, let's fight the cause because the assets of the farmers are being affected. And the farmers are saying, well, what assets y'all talking about? These are the things that I'm speaking about. When you have absolutely no idea what is going on. But we have some people on social media who have all of a sudden become experts in every issue. And they feel like they need to speak on an issue because they are an expert and their opinions must become fact. We are all entitled to our opinions, But make your decisions based on informed decisions, not somebody's biased opinion. I am very disappointed this morning in the way that I've seen us behave over the past few days as a people. As an individual who loves Grenada and loves Grenadians. And for me, I want to see everybody succeed. I want to see everybody thrive. That is just the person that I am. Ask anybody who knows me. I don't even feel there's a bad bone in my body. I can't just watch somebody and don't like them. You don't know the person, you don't know their background. But we tend to just fight amongst ourselves. Instead of fighting with each other and against each other, let's fight to build each other as a people. This is what I want to see for Grenada. This is what you should want to see for Grenada as well. A united people. We out here jumping up, balling Black Lives Matter, and we here in Grenada bringing down our black brothers and sisters and fighting against each other. You have people that will just watch you and just don't think you're qualified. So they ain't like you. And they're saying all sorts of things about you. If these political parties and political activists want to see you thrive, they will provide you with all of the facts so that you can make an informed decision as a farmer. And that is why I say maybe the government of Grenada, Ministry of Agriculture, must now go on a venture to inform farmers. But then the next question will be, when you go to these meetings, are you going to go with an open mind? Or are you going to go with the preconceived notion that you are going to be shortchanged? You know, one of the things I've learned sitting here on this program is that you can give your opinion. But because I sit here and I represent the New National Party, people feel that everything I say is biased. And everything that I say, I have to say it. But you have to remember that I will always speak from an informed place. I will never come and sit on any program and lie to the Grenadian public. And the New National Party, contrary to what a lot of people believe, they're not in the business of just formulating lies to mislead the Grenadian people. Because at the end of the day, everything that is being done is for the benefit of every single person in Grenada, regardless of your political affiliation, regardless of who you like and who you don't like. It's being done for our benefit. And that is what we must see in all of this. So I appeal to all of the farmers. Get the facts. Know the facts so that you can contribute to making that decision. And at the end of the day, you can make a list of all of the things that you are experiencing as a farmer. Match it against what is being proposed with this merger. And make a decision on whether this is the best thing for you as a farmer. And not for an association who tells you what to do. Guys, it's always a pleasure being here with you. In whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe, be secure. I want to be talking with you and never about you. Tomorrow I'll have sitting with me Mr. Bola, who is not only my co-host but also former Minister of Agriculture. So he should be able to give me a little bit more insight on what's going on with this issue. Please, guys, enjoy the rest of your day.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the New National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.